Did you know how Mom describes you growing up? Did you know what she would say?
Uh-oh.
Mom used to say that throughout her entire childhood, you were always the best dad that anybody
Really?
ever had. She told me, which was ironic coming from her. She told me that you never lost your temper, never screamed and yelled, never hit her, never really yelled at her. That you were always really patient, and with any correction that you gave her, you were always just really patient and encouraging.
No, I guess it was.
And you just guess you were. Wasn't Mom difficult to deal with?
No.
She was just a perfect good kid, huh?
Well, I thought she was.
What about Grandma? You never lost your temper with Grandma either.
I lost my temper with Grandma one time.
One time.
Well, it may have been more than that, but it was because she was really mad at Michelle about something, and I didn't see why she was so mad at me.
So you were mad at Grandma for being mad?
Forget yeah, I didn't think Michelle had done anything that bad, but
Oh man, that is a treat. She had only ever good things to say about you. You were a legend growing
Really?
up. Yeah,
Wow.
the legend of Grandpa Harris, the perfect dad.
My goodness.
Yeah, I think that's just stinking magical. You know?
She was such a joy to raise. She just had so many friends, and I always made them feel welcome at our house. She knew she could bring her friends to our house at any time.
You told me that you dealt with depression. When did that start? In your 30s?
She did.
No, you did.
Oh, the first time I had depression, it was right after I got out of high school. And we, just been going to school all these 12 years, 4 years in high school.
The same thing happened to me.
And I hadn't really thought about that much about what I was going to do. And suddenly I was out of school, and what am I going to do with my life,
Yeah.
And I got depressed then. But I've had 3 or 4 episodes after that too. One of them was when I was overseas one time.
The military, the Air Force.
In the Air Force over at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines. And I saw, we had been so poor and nobody had much of anything back there where I grew up. And it just seemed like there was so much money being spent. It looked like a lot of it was just wasted.
That got you down, huh?
Yeah.
You know, you are without a doubt the most grateful person that I have ever talked to.
Really?
I mean, no, I'm not saying. I mean, day to day, you've always, in every single email you've sent me every week of my life, you've always said how much you're grateful and how much you're thankful for everything that you've ever had, whether it be Grandma and all the years you had with her, or my mom and all the years you had with her. You've always said that. What's more impressive is the fact that you were still able to say just that, to keep the same tone and the same mentality when both Grandma and Mom died. And that's the more shocking thing, because when Mom was dying, I wasn't doing great, but the last thing that was going through my head is how grateful I was for all the time that I had spent with her.
Yeah.
That's not what I was feeling. I was feeling lost. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling chaotic inside and irrational, and I was feeling bipolar almost. It would have been a far stretch for me to get from where I was to losing her and still feeling grateful simultaneously, and that being the main theme of the way that I felt. But when I talked to you, that's what you would say. You'd say, you're so sorry that she is dying so young, but every conversation we have ever had about Grandma and Mom, you have said how much you're grateful for the years that you had with them.
Had with them, yeah. one of the biggest regrets in my life, maybe the biggest, was, and I've told you this before.
Sorry, your foot's a little close to the fire there. There we go. You're good.
Was when we went down, we caught the shuttle and went down to Phoenix and stayed in that motel
Yeah, I know.
overnight, you know.
Couldn't make it
And,
when she was in
and
hospice.
she couldn't do it. Carol couldn't do it. And
Well, trust me, like my mom, the way that she spoke about you so consistently and so positively, you were so real to her that
glad to hear
whether
that.
you were there in person or not, like your love is a reality that you can feel from across the country. And that's because of all the emails, all the letters, all the phone calls, consistently over the years, just repeating the same positive encouragement and loving words of affirmation. You're always present. You're always there. Whereas, let's just take a different example. There are some other people in my life who more sparsely would say that they love me and my family. And I've only really felt loved when they say it, and only some of the time. I'm not fully convinced, of their heart. I mean, I'm sure that they think that they love me all the time, and always have and always will. But it doesn't warm you, all the time. Whereas with you, I can think about you any minute of any day, and I can just think, my grandpa loves me. He loves me to death. He loves me more than anybody else in the world right now. And that is because of just the diligence with which you encouraged all of us. Just consistent. I made a video on Instagram, one of the social media websites, today about you. Just talking about the difference between how you are and how other grandparents have been. So with you were never one to just randomly give a lot of corrective advice. You were not out there just saying, hey Nick, I think you ought to do this better, I think you could do this better, or fix this, fix that, apologize for this, apologize for that. You were just the grandpa who just loves. And I think there's a place, absolutely a place, for that corrective advice. It has to be. But for whatever reason, and maybe just because I'm a total weakling, it didn't stick as well. When I was getting a lot of corrective advice from people, let's say it's my dad, let's say it's my grandpa, let's say Grandpa Hobbs, it's helpful and it's meant with love, but at the end of the day, it is a criticism. And so a lot, like my dad, he tries to help me all the time, and it's because I need it, but he still tries to help me. So like this week, he sent me a message and he said, hey, I think your voicemail isn't very professional. I think you need to fix it. You need to do a different voicemail for your phone. I was like, okay. And I changed my voicemail to make it sound a little bit better, more like what he wanted. If the majority of somebody's interactions are little helpful tips, it is not the same as the constant affirmation that you have given over the years. And so even though the constant helpful advice and the tips and the corrective counseling, even though that has even though that's needed in life, what you do and how you've lived your life is the most effective way, in my opinion, to have an impact on someone's life by example, not by education. So my dad, very smart guy.
He is.
He's an educator at heart.
He really is.
And he's a trainer
Good
at heart.
teacher.
And he's a hard worker at heart.
Yeah.
And so he has always tried to instill those values in me through a lot of corrective advice. And he's also given me a lot of encouragement too. But there's nobody that compares with Grandpa Harris in terms of just the consistent love and affirmation that is doled out to all the people you love all of the time with everything you say. There's only one other guy I know who's like that. It's Courtney's dad.
Really?
Courtney's dad, oh my God, well that's how he is now, but not when she was younger. Now every conversation, oh I love you so much, beautiful, you're the most beautiful girl in the world, I love you to death, you're the only reason I'm alive. You know, he's like that too. But he got like that when he was older. You've been like that all throughout. So I was making a video to all of my friends and everyone that knows me, not too many people actually, about how you can still have a tremendous impact in someone's life simply by leading by example, even though your style was never to just list out things that need to be fixed. In addition to correct, you spared the correction, at least for me, almost all the time. And it's not like I didn't. That's the thing. This is why this works. It's not like I'm not aware of the things about me that should be better or the things that I should do. Most people know that they should apologize for something before they're told that they should, right?
Yeah.
Most people know that they should love somebody before they're told to be more loving. We have an inherent understanding of our own insufficiencies, especially when we're next to or know somebody who just excels at those things. And so, man, I just lost my train of thought. We have an inherent knowledge of what should be. And so to some degree, it's possible that a heavy emphasis on corrective advice might be somewhat unnecessary unless your kid is just dumb as nails. So all I'm doing is I'm just telling you that you've had the biggest impact on me than anyone in my life,
Really?
except probably my two parents because they raised me. But the biggest impact, even though you were not the person in my life constantly telling me what I was needed to fix and needed to improve. You were not that person. And yet, all of that corrective advice that I got over the years, I really don't think about it. It's not the track that I play in my head constantly. I mean, I have some insecurities about who I am and what I am. Probably that track does play. But the thing that I think about more often is, what would Grandpa do? How was Grandpa? How can I be more like Grandpa? Right now, that's not too much of a pressing issue. But when I have a family one day, it's going to be tough. And I just hope that I can do it half as well as you did it. And I know I wasn't there, but Mom was. And every kid knows that their parent is flawed. But my mom was the only kid I ever knew that didn't think that her dad had any flaws at all. Can you believe it?
Really?
You've made it all these years, huh?
Oh,
It brought a little joy to my heart when I heard you say "damn it" one time about 3 years ago.
really?
I was like, I can't remember what it was, but it was out on the front porch, and I heard you say, "Oh, damn it," and I was like,
He's human after
he
all.
got mad about something. Whereas I think "damn it" about 100 times a day. So that's why I love you, Grandpa.
Oh, really?
Always will. Long after you're gone, I'm going to tell my kids about you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I got how I am to a great extent by trying to be as unlike my mother as I could possibly be. Really?
Really?
I mean,
It was your mom, huh?
my mom. Oh, what can I say about her?
Well, hey, okay, so if people want to make more people like you, all they have to do is be a terrible parent, right? I can do that.
My mother was sandwiched in between these two older brothers and two younger brothers.
Yeah.
But she just
She was
didn't,
hard. She was a hard woman.
She didn't make sense about a lot of things she did, and
Well, I'm
even after many years, I went back there one time, and I got so upset thinking about how she was when I was growing up that I actually jumped all over her about it. I probably shouldn't have, but I did.
She was never the cheeriest great grandma that I ever met. She was still kind of stern a little bit, even even when she was older. Well, I hate to say it, but I'm glad she was the way she was, because if she wasn't, I wouldn't have got to experience this version of Grandpa.
Yeah.
I would have had just your standard Grandpa. I don't have a standard Grandpa.
And my dad, next February, he will have been dead 50 years already, which is so impossible for me to believe. And he and my mother were so unlike. There was no two couples, no couple in the world that was more unlike than they were.
And they stayed together, huh?
They stayed together all those years. Oh, me.
Grind it out.
Dad just never said anything, and he didn't have much education and stuff. And
Was he a humble guy? Or was he just a controlled guy? Was he just a self-controlled guy?
no, I wouldn't call him controlled. It's hard to describe my dad.
Non-communicative.
Yeah, non-communicative.
Okay.
And
Not much to live up to then, huh?